Hello everyone, my name is Don Shanahan and welcome to another movie classroom edition of Every Movie Has a Lesson. This is the film review website written by an educator with life lessons in mind, from the serious to the farcical, because to him, and just like the title says, every movie can teach a lesson. This week we have Neighbors, starring Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. Okay, like I said, we have Neighbors. A good little comedy here, definitely meant to kind of be the go-to for your summer R-rated kind of comedy piece here. I guess that's the way to kind of say it. Last year was This Is the End. There's normally one really good R-rated comedy that shows promise every year, and the trailers and the hype for this one were good. Plot summary wise, go watch the trailer. It's pretty simple. You have a couple of old folks, in terms of people in their 30s, with a kid trying to move living next door to a fraternity with Zac Efron, and kind of hijinks ensue. I'm not going to do plot summary like I always do. It's my thing is to do the lessons and to get things moving. So let me tell you more about it in a little bit here. I'll get to lessons, but I'll kind of give my take on the film. This is a funny movie. I had a blast watching it. It's definitely not anything earth-shattering. Nicholas Stoller, from the Apatow Tree, the director of Forgetting Sarah Marshall and The 5-Year Engagement, is here with Neighbors. He gets a good cast together. I know I'm starting to become a little bit of a mark for Zac Efron. I like what he does. I like the charm he brings. I like how he's growing up from High School Musical. I enjoyed him in That Awkward Moment earlier this year, and I think he does a nice job in this movie. Seth Rogen's always a good time. I think he's becoming that guy where you either like him or you don't. I think he kind of doesn't wear out his welcome here. I think he does a good job sharing this movie with the other people in there. You have not James Franco. You have David Franco in here. You have Rose Byrne playing Seth Rogen's wife. It's a good little group. It's definitely that movie that is that raunchy R-rated kind of comedy that everyone's hoping for the summer. I think it's going to be a dogfight between this and 22 Jump Street to see who's kind of the comedy, the must-see one of the summer. So far, this one's out of the gate first and making a ton of money, as you can see from the box office returns this weekend, passing Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's still kind of, how can I say it? It's still kind of a hit or miss thing for me. It's not no movie like this is ever going to be the brightest movie in the world, but at the same time, I wasn't completely rolling on the floor laugh, and I kind of sit in the middle with this one. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think it's definitely worth the fun if you're a comedy fan. This is definitely a great place to start the summer. And let's get into the lessons. Okay, let's get to the lessons here. 3 out of 5 movie Neighbors. Lesson number 1 is, and this is the easy one. And it's, like I said, it's not diving into too much cliche, but I like to call it the give and take of neighborly relationships. I think all of us, or any of us, I should say, who live next door to anyone, whether we have a house, whether we have even a rural farm, or even an apartment, whatever, or even if you're a college roommate and you have to share your space with people nearby. I think the relationship between neighbors is a funny and interesting thing, because you have this swinging pendulum between, establishing yourself, asserting yourself, getting your way as who you are and the master of your own domain, but at the same time, not being too weird for the person that's next to you, whether it's that roommate or neighbor, where the idea of doing just enough compromise to be accommodating and acquiescent without being a dick. I think that's kind of where you're going with this. There's this unspoken, unwritten decorum that you're supposed to have being a neighbor. Obviously, this line gets crossed a ton in this movie, because you couldn't land into a more line-crossing neighbor than a fraternity, especially when you are a couple of first-time parents trying to raise a little baby. So that is definitely played for laughs here. The generation gap between guys in their, I should say, a couple in their 30s and a bunch of kids in their 20s, and how that is the lens of which you see the idea of neighborly relationships that we all see wherever we go. The learning moment here, even though it's a comedy, we're not really trying to learn anything. Stick to the golden rule. You'll be fine. Do unto others as you have them do unto you, and you're going to be out the door, and you're going to be just fine of a neighbor. If you need more weird neighbors, go watch Tom Hanks in The Burbs. Okay, lesson 2. definitely focuses on the couple that gets the most attention in the movie. And make no mistake, even though this is a college comedy, most of this movie is being done through Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne as kind of the adult slash parents here. They get the focus. They're your main characters, and for them, their growth is a piece of this movie. So lesson number 2 is reaching that point or age. As usual, bear with me. Point or age. I get to use the eraser. Here we go. Point or age. Get it right, Don. When you can't party like you used to. I think this one kind of is an easy one to see, especially if you've seen the trailers. I think we all know Seth Rogen is probably the #1 advertiser in the world for marijuana and drug use as a person, as an actor, as a star. I don't know if he's ever played a straight role where he doesn't do something ridiculous. And sure enough, he plays that man-child part that he's good at in terms of a guy who thinks, you know what, let's get in good with the neighbors. Let's go hang out with them, with the frat guys, and see if we can kind of relive that college days we used to have. Because he did marry his college sweetheart in this movie, and that whole piece about where they are now being parents and where these young kids are at their point. But I think we all can relate to it if we're getting to that age where even if we're 25 and we can't party like we were 18, or even 35 and we can't party like we're 18, or even when we're 21. I think we all reach that point or age where you can't party like you used to. Some people like to kind of push that invisible wall as far as they can to live in their youth and tip back a few pretty hard and hit it hard on the weekends, or even just being that single unmarried friend among a bunch of people who are all, mature, older, and kind of moving on with that adult part of life. I think we all probably know that one person who is definitely breaking this lesson by making a mess of themselves when they really could be like, you know what, you're kind of past that. You're not 21. Don't dress like you're 21. Don't drink like you're 21. Don't talk like you're 21. Act your age. I'm not trying to sound like a square to it. I think we all can have our fun, and we all can have our kind of party, but I think we all know that there's that age where we just can't hang. The kids around us keep passing us by. Let's get to the final lesson. The third and final lesson is the clincher that kind of brings our main characters back here. Maybe emerges a little bit of lesson 1 and lesson 2. Maybe not so much the neighborly relationships of lesson 1, but lesson 3 definitely takes lesson 2 and brings it to that adult spot. Because once again, our heroes, so to speak, in this story are Seth and Rose. So the idea here is, and this is going to sound lame, and this is going to get an aw kind of thing, but parenting is a different party in life. And maybe I'm saying this because I'm a first-time new parent as of the last year here, with a second baby on the way. But the Seth and Rose's characters here definitely kind of eventually see the light of how they can't hang from lesson 2, and look what they have at home and where their life is, and realize that, you know what, the party may have changed, and we may be 30, and it may be slower and different than it was, but parenting and having fun with a kid and getting into that new phase of life is a different kind of party, and one that isn't too bad to hang around with. I can definitely vouch for that. That's kind of where the arrow hit my bullseye watching this movie in terms of the learning pieces to this. I mean, we can spend all day adding more lessons to this as if it was one of the Jackass films, and just going of all the things not to do, hanging around a fraternity, whether it's the shenanigans of the pranks and the things that go back and forth of Seth and Rose trying to get rid of the frat from next door, and all the kind of the elaborate pranks they pull on each other. We could make a list of those all day, but that takes away the fun of the movie, where you guys get to see them develop themselves. Like I said, this list can go longer, but that's what we have for Neighbors. Once again, this movie for me is it's good. It's a 3 out of 5. It's a good summer comedy. Nothing super duper amazing must see, but definitely worth the time if you're looking for a comedy. You're not going to find really a better one playing right now. So it's that summer season until 22 Jump Street gets here. This is what we have. Let me close it out next. As always, you can read my review of Neighbors and all the other things I do, including a new review of Godzilla that's hitting the web here at www.everymoviehas... Let me tinker that up. Has a lesson.com. Like I said, the summer season's in full swing. I'll do what I can to see as many good movies as I can. I'm enjoying the chances to do so. It's been fun to kind of catch some free passes and get some press ways to get around things. But if you're in the mood for a comedy, go catch Neighbors. In the meantime, have a good night and take care.